Hey guys, welcome to our review of Kamen Rider 01, episode 44. As always, I'm your host, Frozen Stratos. Here with me today we have...
It's Cinder Blaze.
And I'm Aresol. I'm like real Aresol. Only more arc.
No! No!
Alright, and before we start
How
off
long?
this review, check...
How long have you been preparing for that? Is that sticky note the same size as that frame?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's not even a sticky note! You got tape as well! You committed to that!
I committed for like 30 seconds. The 30 seconds it took me to cut a piece of paper like that.
Okay. Well, alright. Guys, before we get started on whatever this is, I just wanted to mention that there are still links in the description down below to how you can help support the Black Lives Matter movement by donating money, signing petitions, whatever you do. As long as you do it, it absolutely helps. But with that said, let's hop into our thoughts and then your thoughts about this episode. And I thought it was really good. This is really good.
Yeah. This is a really excellent Arto tantrum episode. From the second they called him out on this, he was just like, nope, started crying and running.
Like, I honestly could have done with a little more lamenting over the death of Jin. But I understand we probably ran out of episodes, so if we needed to cut something, let's get to the really meaty stuff between 02 versus the brand new Fua form.
Yeah. Honestly, I felt like that was intentional because the second he laments on his death, then he just does not turn into Arc 1 at the end of the episode.
That's true. He didn't use Arc 1. And I was sort of wondering why they made that decision. And I haven't quite landed on something. But
My thought, and I'm assuming you mean during the Fua fight, my thought was that he was having like such a crisis of conscience at the time. Like he's clearly struggling with his actions throughout the episode, and maybe that was like his way of being like, no, I'm not Arc. This is me. It's my decision. Because you notice, like, once Fua kind of what's the word I'm looking for? He kind of pisses Aruto off partway through the fight, and that's when you start seeing the flashes of Arc 1.
Right.
And then the final flash being of Aruto himself, kind of like, no, it is him. He's kind of fully committed now to this. But
yeah, I also felt like part of it was like guilt for Jin's death, because like he just killed someone in that suit. Like, so I would think that he wouldn't feel comfortable kind of like using it again, you know? So he's like, maybe let me just like use this one. Like, you know, that wasn't me. Like, that was like something else.
Separate himself.
And then like once he puts on like the 02 driver and he starts doing the same stuff, you're just like, like everyone kind of see it like, no, that's you. That ain't like art.
Yeah.
So,
but I'm worried that, like, you know, fighting his friend like that sort of like could potentially like taint the suit that he had built with Izu. One of the last things they actually built together, tainting that suit with a fight like that. I don't know, and I don't know, maybe it was him just trying to get back to himself as well, and ultimately like winding up back, you know, fighting his friends.
I was actually surprised that like Izu didn't like really make an appearance, because that suit was kind of like made with like some of her data, like from stuff that she selected through Zaya. So I thought it was a little bit weird that they didn't even like that she didn't show up. But I guess he was getting seduced by Azu that entire episode, so he obviously wasn't really paying attention to any of it.
Should we talk about the thing that I brought up after we watched the episode.
I mean, you already brought it up, so we got to talk about it.
That's fair. That's fair. I feel like there was some unintentional subtext of, oops, Aruto may have screwed Azu.
Yeah.
Because, like, anytime
I'm pretty sure he screwed Jin.
That too. But, like, anytime they brought up the idea of, Aruto, what did you do? It flashed to that scene. And I recognized that it's, oh yeah, the seduction of power. But it also wasn't helpful when you shouted out, ooh, 50 Shades of Azu. Yeah, it was really weird. Once again, probably definitely unintentional. But just
but definitely intentional.
it maybe go with some different visuals next time. If ever you're finding yourself making another 01, try something else with that one.
I don't know. I felt like the seduction of like power and like hatred, you know, kind of succumbing to that was pretty powerful. So I thought it worked. It was, yeah.
I feel like we need to attach Azu. I mean, like, for me, I haven't really attached her to like being that evil power just yet. You know what I mean? Like, in my mind, she doesn't quite embody that because that power is still the arc. You know what I mean?
I don't know. Like, I kind of see her as, you know, the equivalent of like what Izu is to Aruto. She is to the arc, and like you can't really like separate Aruto's power from like Izu all too much because like they're like a team almost, you know, like she's the one that's kind of like helping him through and kind of like getting the power for him. So like, yeah, like it's the arc's power, but I associate them close enough that it's a little indistinguishable for me.
Sure.
Yeah. That's kind of how I think about it.
Right.
Yeah, I think if we had those remaining 4 or 5 episodes, we probably could have had a little more build up for her, but I mostly see her as you know, I hate to use this word after you just went on your little rant, a temptress, you know, sort of tempting people with hatred and malice, not the other.
Right. Yes.
Because that is, I was thinking about this earlier today, like that is kind of like the real enemy of the show is hatred. Like that is just what Arc embodies now, because Arc's not really there anymore. It's more just Hirobi and Aruto being manipulated.
Yeah, they're almost like a successors almost, you know, like like one represents human hate, one's like human gear hate. So you know, it's only gonna like lead to more hatred. Like honestly, like if they kill each other, like the human gears are already kind of like pissed off. The humans, like if Aruto dies, like Fua and like Yaiba are probably next in line. You never know. So
yeah,
maybe even like the vice president.
And it is. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
It is kind of interesting that like we're building up to the finale now, or we're getting into it next week. Every other Kamen Rider series would end with the big climactic fight, and I'm sure we'll get it. But like the point of this episode was setting up that they really shouldn't. They really shouldn't fight. Because it's just going to make things worse. Because regardless of who wins, world gets fucked. Like that's
right.
Yeah. Like I seriously think that they're trying to like set up like either a different enemy. What we might see in like a movie. I don't think we have enough room to like have the final boss in the next episode. You know, like maybe it's who the Zaya. It could be something related to the Zaya president. It could be something related to like Arc or Azu, but like I can't see like Hirobi being like the final villain. Like he could be like
he's just as much a puppet as Aruto is now.
Yeah, like he could like just be a victim.
victor.
Yeah, Exactly. But like it could also be like somewhat of like a barren type of situation where like, he's kind of like, this dies with me. Like, like all this hatred like the human gears have
Oh.
bared, like just end it, like, I accept my fate, something like that. That could happen. I'm not sure if
Right.
Aruto will really like let that happen, because like if he ever does come back, I feel like saving Hirobi like would be his priority. It was Izu's last wish, so if he doesn't fulfill that, I feel like in one way or another that would be kind of depressing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And like it I'm not sure, I'm not even sure within the show itself Izu is gonna come back. Like there might be some one-off art, but if you I part of me kind of, I don't know, what would happen if she doesn't? That death is permanent and it actually means something. Like
Yeah.
in everything, because the our preconceived notion is that, oh, she's coming back. Like there's already a body for her to inhabit. There's already the progress key. But if she doesn't, I feel like that's a lot more powerful. They said they're gonna do something different with the ending of 01 as compared to all the other ones, but I don't know how different. So I'm excited.
Literally gonna be a lack of a giant CG battle. That is the big different thing that they're gonna be doing this season.
God, I hope so. Unless, of course, 01 and Hirobi are like, wait, hold on, we shouldn't be fighting, and then the arc just sort of pops out of both of them, and he's like, ooh, yes, I have completed my final form. I have the malice of humans and malice of Humagear, and I am here now to kill it all of it. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
I hope it does.
that would suck, honestly.
Yeah. Because, like, right now we're down to some really good character beats. And if we could just follow through with that. Because, like I said last week, I think, what they're really good at is the emotional labor that they go through. And if we can turn that into our conclusion, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, but I think that it's too easy to revive the human gears right now. Jin is probably on his way back next episode. And then for Izu, like, if they find a way to revive Jin from that state he was in, well, Izu was kind of like in the same state as well. So maybe they could revive her through the data that's in 02. Like, who knows? But
I don't know. Well, like, at the very least, I think, Jin's probably going to come back to, like, save Hirobi, but what if the big twist, the big thing that they said, oh, we're doing it different this year? What if Aruto just stays evil? That would be, please? I don't know. That'd be interesting. That'd be new. That'd be different. Or at least, like, isolate himself.
I don't know how likely that is to happen.
Probably
yeah.
not.
But because we haven't gotten a follow-up for a scene in this episode yet, where he was talking to Zaya and his dad appeared.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like that's going to happen next episode.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know. But I think it would be interesting if he didn't 100% recover
Sure.
from the trauma, but I don't know about staying evil. That would be gutsy, but I don't necessarily see it happening.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
But that's me saying it so that, oh, prove me wrong, Toei. Make it happen. We also, I guess the Remocon brothers just decided that they knew how to talk again, and like, actually thought for themselves, kinda. They had to have Yaiba tell them not to shoot the dudes, but
honestly, Ames has never been good in this show.
no,
like not even close. So when
Ames
they're like
rarely exists.
Yeah, when they were trying to like emote and stuff, and they promoted Yaiba to captain of that useless ass squad, I'm just like, that is exactly where she would belong. somewhere irrelevant as crap. Like, that was speaking of which, Naki is also kind of like dwelling there as well. Like, just basically gives Fua like Naki's like only power up. I was just like, okay, I guess you're not going to be doing anything for the rest of the series.
Yeah, watch this dude break it. Like, absolutely break it. And it's not just like this definitely wasn't the case, but I really want to believe that if he just like used the key properly and opened it up properly, it wouldn't have broken, but he decided to force it open.
Yeah, I mean, like, if he didn't break it himself, I'm pretty sure Arto would have. Because, like, he was kind of like at that point in the fight where he would have just, like, taken his belt and just shoved it up his ass. Like...
I still really would like to see some Raid Risers. We could get them into some Raid Riser suits. That'd be great.
I guess. that might help a little bit, but I feel like if we do see it, it's just gonna be wasted screen time. Them against like fodder human gear, I do not want to see that. I would much rather see
Valkyrie in the Jackal form. It's got to make a return.
No, it doesn't.
It's the strongest. I just want to see it one more time.
Has she ever won a fight in that form? I don't think so.
She's never won a fight, period. At least on her own.
Oh, wait, I'm pretty sure she beat Thouser. Like, everyone had a turn at beating Thouser.
No, she didn't, because Fua had to help her.
Oh.
Right? She never gets the recognition she deserves. She's always given the worst parts of the fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those were our thoughts.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any more?
Well, do we want to talk about the protest scene?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, pretty overt allusion to well, the current state of America.
Yeah. I mean, we can talk about it. We promote Black Lives Matter stuff all the time.
I think some people commented on it in the comments as well, if you want to save it for then too. But yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Because we're just diving right on into them. Let's see here. So first up, we have a comment from. Wait, do we only have the two?
I only see the two.
Okay. Ryugano, who says 01 sure is getting crazy. A lot is happening, but not so much that it feels rushed. At least not yet. And I appreciate that. This episode has a lot of great shots that I love. My personal fave is when Arto is fighting Fua, and even though he's 02, he cuts. The cuts are still of Arc 1, and the fact that the last cut was of Arto was so good. Another good one is Arto in like this wasteland with Azu. It was a nice visual. Orthrus Vulcan is another highlight. I mean, sure. When you think about it, it's not that different from Great Cross, but this looks cooler and is a lot more meaningful. The henshin is a lot cooler than I would have hoped, and the jingle is great too. I don't know. I liken it more to Grease Blizzard, just because it only lasted an episode, and we'll probably see it again in a movie. Yeah, it was a cool form. Joking aside, those shots were neat. Like the very aesthetic stuff that happened, once again with the seduction of Arto, and then also that final shot where they had all the weapons just like buried into the ground. And then, flashed for a moment to this wasteland. It's good stuff. I wonder if it's symbolic of something. What does it mean?
Yeah. Also, I really like how like the Orthros Vulcan form mirrors like 02 almost, because it's like instead of the two grasshoppers, it's like the two wolves. However, like they do scale it pretty well. Like usually when we get new forms, they got to be like somewhat competent, but like this guy was still outmatched really far. Like.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of nice to see like a new form just get like absolutely smashed.
That's true. Like, what a strange way to promote your figure.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Next two come from Double the Unknown.
Go
What?
for it. I was reading a comment.
I definitely felt some emotion during some parts of this episode. My rewatch has entered the second arc, and I'm watching that again alongside this episode. Wait. My rewatch has entered the second arc, and watching that again alongside this episode really showed me how much this show has really remained topical with current events and politics. I'm really excited to see how this ends. We'll probably have a lot to say about the series as a whole. On a funnier note, I imagine that the highest mountain of rock Arc Scorpion climbed is just Hirobi creating one sick rock and roll band and climbing the billboards. Yeah, with his band MetsuboJinrai.net. Did you not see their debut album cover?
That describes Metsubo Jinrai so well. They do look like an edgy ass rock band. Oh my god.
Yeah, they look like something I would have listened to in high school.
Yeah. God, if someone could make that. Then he goes on to say some interesting things I read on the official website. First, Williamson was supposed to debut alongside the second half of Project Thouser, where they intended to show his involvement with the events of the series, but since that got delayed, we just have to pretend he's someone important to the show. The other interesting thing is that since Hirobi's suit actor is Seiji Takaiwa, his final fight is the battle of the Heisei and Reiwa suit actors. Yeah, that's really cool. I actually didn't know if he was still like hanging out there in Hirobi's suit, but I guess they do that thing where like if you are attached to the suit, you will and forever always will be this guy, unless we need to do a group shot and just have some dudes stand in them.
Yeah, man. We didn't talk about the Arc Scorpion suit. Let me just say, I did not like that suit. It did not look nearly as good as Arc 1 on the other side of the battlefield.
I don't know. Like, I didn't get a good enough shot of it, honestly.
They focused mostly on the head.
Yeah. Okay. They brought back the Sharpie that they used on Sento from when he got sick and then just put it on the eyeballs to make a crack thing. Not great. But
I think it was way too purple of a suit. I know that's like his color, but if he's gonna be corrupted by Arc, like maybe have more prominent whites. Like that is like that I would have liked a little bit more.
Yeah.
But they probably don't have the budget or the time to create a suit like that.
Yeah.
So
but I am, to what Double and to what Aresol you were saying, these are strangely topical. And I'm
is it strange?
Shocked. No, just because, like, I feel like the turnaround time is not as quick as it actually is, which is why I thought it was strange. And like when you're pitching the series, when you're making the series, it takes like a year. So it's strange that it hits on current events so well.
The protests started happening before the show went on break, yeah? So this episode would have been filmed after these events started happening.
Right.
Also, the show has always sort of had an underlying narrative theme of prejudice.
Yeah.
That's not really, a secret that it's trying to keep.
That's true.
yeah.
I guess it wasn't hard if this wasn't necessarily the intention, like during its inception, it probably wasn't too hard to retool it into commentary on that. And like the most overt that we saw was the one with I guess the MC Check It Out or something. That Human Gear?
The rapper?
Yeah. And then they showed up on the news and was like, the public got swayed by fake news.
Yeah, like I think that for most of the scene, I don't think it was like too intentional. to say something about like the stuff that's happening in the States. Like for me, it just felt like this is just like a generic kind of like prejudice, humans against human gears, and it just like looks so much like what's happening over here that I was like, dang, this is real bad. Like
It is, it is strange because you'd think that, I mean, they are world events. There were protests in Japan as well, but it's like, I don't know. It's strange that the show is hitting so far into what is very much like
it hits really close to home.
Yeah, something. Yeah, more of the Western world sort of situation. I guess it is global, but like something that we're feeling the most, right?
Yeah, I also think like a lot of it, like why it felt a little bit weird for me was because we had like a break from all like the human gear prejudice stuff, because that was very prevalent in like the first half of the series, as Aresol was saying. Like especially like in the middle, like the Thouser arc, like people just didn't treat them like as they were like as good as humans, like that was like the main focus of that arc. But the second we kind of got out of it, we're building like more stuff towards the arc, and like for then it's more about like hatred within society, and not so much about like the prejudice about thinking one's superior to another. It's more just like just random hatred. So when we kind of like go back to some of that stuff we had previously in the series, it's like, oh, well, it kind of like has that surprise factor, more so than anything. Like this is definitely something that was going to be there regardless, but the fact that it's like also kind of mirroring what's happening in the States, it just hits us a little bit like differently, I feel.
Yeah. And I feel the lesson that they're really trying to drive home is that like man, this sounds so contrived and I really don't want to say it, but like violence isn't really the answer. Like escalating it to that point really isn't the answer. And like what Aresol was saying before we got into the comments was like the whole thing, like any normal show would build to this climactic fight where you want them to duke it out and finally finish, one of them finishes each other off. But this one, you're like, no, don't fight. That will make that will escalate the tensions and make it boil over, like we've seen.
Yeah.
And it's sort of, I guess, teaching that lesson of and Yua even demonstrated that properly. Even if Aside is violent, you take the high road.
Yeah, like she took that hit from like the human gear protester, because
I thought that out of everything she's done, that was powerful. That was pretty powerful.
Yeah,
and that's one Yua loss. She's had a lot. That's one Yua loss that I am 1,000% okay with.
We're going 99.
99.9%. Yeah. We're doing that now.
Also, I felt like 43 and 44 of this series really helped kind of like set this up, because like when we saw like the pain that Aruto and Hirobi were both suffering because of their escalating violence, you almost don't want to see it like in the last one. Like I think because like we're so used to having those giant finale fights, this is one where I think I'm okay with them not having it, because like that sucks. Like Hirobi was crying, dude. Like Aruto's just got like he's like broken up. Like it's like the one time a rider kick might not actually solve the problem.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess that like still reaching back to like when Izu died, her final wish was to see everyone together, or make sure everyone was together and like save even Hirobi. So I feel like her calculation was to get to here, and then they wouldn't fight. And then that's how just Izu was the one to save them all, and maybe she doesn't come back.
Maybe, who knows?
Yeah, maybe. Did you guys have anything else before we end this very lengthy review?
I'm good.
All right, cool. So guys, thanks for watching. If you like this episode, hit that like button and subscribe if you want to hear more from us each week. Tell us in the comments down below what you thought about our thoughts about your thoughts about this episode. And Aresol, God damn it! I was gonna thank you for coming on.
Embrace it, Corey. Embrace your hatred.
Oh my god. I was gonna say thanks for being on, but never mind. There's still links in the description down below to how you can help support the Black Lives Matter movement by donating money, signing petitions, whatever you do. As long as you do it, it absolutely helps. Yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Keep it.
Yep, see ya.
Extinction.
God damn it.
Oh man.
You get a lighthearted gag for a lighthearted episode.
Oh yes, of course. A jaunty episode indeed.
Yeah, it had like Aruto and Fua just playing with each other.